And we'd like to welcome in Brandi Love to Out and About.
Hi, everybody. So good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us. As I've told you, I've been pumped for this. I have always been super open. I'm a big porn lady. And
Nice.
Owen Gray is my guy. He's my favorite that I talk about all the time, whatever. But I'm super excited to have you on, especially I'm a MILF to be. You know, so I have questions. A lot of questions.
And I'm here to answer them. But first of all, congratulations. How exciting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So I guess the first question that I'm going to start off with is everyone knows who Brandi Love is. You're kind of, synonymous in the porn world with MILF. You've been doing this for a while. You're very famous. I don't think many people know how you got your start in the business because it is unique. So can you kind of tell us how you ended up getting involved in porn and when that happened?
Sure. I mean, I would suspect that most people's stories about getting into the adult industry is unique because it is it's a different career choice, obviously. And it's funny for me because I never really thought much about it. It felt very natural. I guess that, my freak flag waves. It was never hidden. It was always out. My husband and I had a wine business. We created a wine label business that primarily marketed weddings and large gatherings, conventions, where you could put a custom wine label on the back of a bottle. We're huge wine lovers ourselves, and it just was a really cool pairing. But this was back in 2001 and 2002. And technology was not part of our repertoire. I worked for Harley Davidson. My husband was in the biotech industry. He was a VP of a biotech firm. So the only internet usage we had was surfing porn, of course. And we hired a company to develop our website for the wine labels. This company, the people that we were put with to develop the website were adult affiliate managers. For those of you on that side of the industry know that goes back to the late 90s, early 2000s, where companies relied on affiliates to push traffic to their adult websites. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really know what that was until they explained it. And of course, being lovers of adult entertainment, our ears were like, woo, tell us more. And within a very short period of time, again, apparently that flag is pretty obvious. They looked us right in the face out of nowhere and were like, you guys ever considered being in the adult industry or like seriously, this is how casual, cavalier it just comes out. And we both go, that's interesting. No, I really hadn't thought about it, but we'll think about it. And we're both entrepreneurs, so we could not help. Like the little porn pixies were picking away at our brains. And we're like, is this really a business? This is how naive I was. To me, the adult industry was they're porn fairies. They're just these lovely people who have beautiful sex on camera and we get to watch it. And that was the extent of my knowledge. We did a pro forma. We did a 5-year plan. We investigated and researched marketing and advertising and what does the industry entail? It was, as you can imagine, quite interesting. And we're looking at our P&L going, that's more interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's porn. I mean, it's like explosion. And out of my face, just as I do sometimes speak without thinking, I'm like, let's do it. I want to do it. And Chris is like, do what? Let's do porn. Let's start a company. And how I got involved was when we looked at the numbers and back then realized how much money and investment it would take to create a website and to do it right. I didn't feel right putting that responsibility on someone other than myself because I do the work. I understood the business, at least thought I did, and was willing to do it. It seemed fun. And when I said that, his face, he was like, oh my God. Not because he was upset about it. He's as freaky as I am, probably more so. He loved the idea, but he's much more logical and commonsensical. And he's like, you realize if we do this right, everyone will know. Well, I'm just kind of, bebop around thinking this is the coolest thing ever. I was 30 years old, 31. It didn't really hit me, to be honest. I mean, we do everything 100%, but I'm thinking there's so many women and so many men in adult. Who the hell is going to notice me? I really did think that. And then, 3 months into my career, I was on Howard Stern. So there goes that.
Yeah.
That is on the back.
And the rest is
And the rest is
history.
freaking history. And I've never stopped. For me, it was the right choice. It is a career. It's not a dip in the pool. I love what I do. And it's always changing. There's always new technology. There's always new opportunities. And for me, that's a good fit.
So you said you were 30 years old when you got into this.
Yeah, right about there.
Right about there. Do you remember what your first shoot was like? Were you nervous? Were you terrified? Because it was with your husband. I'm assuming, had you guys had sex on camera before then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We dabbled.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It is different. It is a different experience when you're doing it knowing others are going to be watching versus just being kind of footloose and fancy free. I stayed home with our children, so I was very, very fortunate to get to do that. But I'd also worked my whole life. So at about age 3.5, 4, I get a wild hair up my ass and I decide, here's a way to get back into work. Go to a strip club. And no joke, that's what I did. I went to amateur night at a strip club, and my path changed. I won amateur night. I started dancing 2 nights a week. And that for me was the journey into my sexual exploration, if you will, with being free to be naked, actually enjoying being naked, the rush of being on stage in that position. People are either going to panic and freak or they're going to turn on a light switch. I had about 15 light switches go on.
Yeah.
and literally that was kind of my path. So when we met these people in the wine business, we were doing both at the same time. He was still in healthcare. It was like the perfect storm. My sexuality I was comfortable in my own skin. This was so fun. Why wouldn't I? Why would I have an issue with filming us? It was really was Chris comfortable with it? And he was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do it. But the first filming was more exciting, I would say, honestly, and making sure that the background was right and the lighting was right. More interesting was my first LA scene, because I had my own. BrandyLove.com was around 4 years before I ever went out. I'm sorry, 6 years before I ever went out to LA. So I was very used to just shooting with friends and my husband in our environment. So my first scene ever was for Naughty America. Mm-hmm. And yes, I was nervous. I was so nervous. I didn't understand what was going on. There were so many people. There's a boom guy. There's a lighting guy. There's the camera guy. There's the videographer, makeup. And there was so much going on that for a brief moment, I wanted to run. I was like, oh my God.
I get nervous about what my partner thinks about my asshole in a dim room sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, put a scarf over the lamp. I can't imagine the lighting being perfect.
How many people were in the room with you?
Yeah.
For my very first scene, I would say there was me and my partner, and then people that were working the scene, probably 5 others, five men that I did not know.
Yeah.
I didn't know my talent either. I mean, he and I I was like, hi, nice to meet you. That was the first time we met, and then you get naked. So that whole experience was kind of surreal. I mean, I'd been married for, 15 years before I ever he's the only man I'd been with, minus a few swinger situations. But it'd been a while. That's still different. Now all these people are looking at you. I'm totally green, so I have no idea what the lingo is. And, my first partner, I can't recall his name. He wasn't super friendly to me. Mm-hmm. I think I annoyed the shit out of him because I didn't know what open up meant. Like, what the hell does that mean? You're having sex. Somebody shouts open up. You're like, what's coming at me?
Yeah.
So he was a little annoyed that I didn't have the basics down, because I literally walked in with no coaching. But you learn fast, and
you didn't read the porn lingo guidebook before you went in there. You didn't read the how-to.
I didn't have the manual, man. They threw me to the wolves. But it's okay. I learned that way, so it was fine.
And you said you were just always you started back up again by just going to amateur strip club night because you're comfortable in your skin, you're comfortable with your body. So many of us want to be that way, but we're not. Was that just something you were just raised in a really open, hey, you're you, be proud of your, like, or was it something you taught yourself along the way? How did you become so comfortable?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm still teaching myself. I a long time ago tried to adapt a much more European attitude about sexuality and about my own body. To me, they're so inspiring because they give a shit. Don't get me wrong. It's not that they don't care. It's just that there's a freedom that they possess, and you can see it in their demeanor. And to me, it was really appealing how comfortable they were with, to me, what we were given as a gift. We have this vessel to run through life, this one life that we have. What are you going to do with it? And I made the conscious choice to love it. And sometimes I don't. Like after Thanksgiving, I don't love my body. I put on my fat pants and a big fucking hoodie and I eat another piece of pie. And then for about a week, I'm hard on myself. And then I remind myself, come on, man, this is ridiculous. Have some fun, lighten up. So it's a conscious decision that I wish it was, if I'm making it look easy, I'd like to think it's super easy, but it's my positive talk to myself when I'm getting down on myself or saying your ass looks fat, your thighs have cheese on it. You just go to the gym, drink a bottle of water and go, you know what? I'm back on track. We're cool. I got this.
I love that. And you talk about like being comfortable and stuff in your body. And obviously you're a mother. And being comfortable sexually and being comfortable talking about sex is probably a different conversation for you to have with your children than it is for other mothers who aren't in the adult industry. How has your job and your career affected your relationship with your kids? And has it ever put a strain on the relationship? I know maybe last year you were photographed at WVU and that kind of went viral. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, Barstool put that viral.
Oh no!
God,
it wasn't us. It was not us.
I know who it was. And look, it was a little bit of a thorn in the side because there's a sense of civility that I believe we should all treat each other with. And let's be honest, that's kind of gone. And naively, I treat others the way I expect to be treated. And when it comes to kids, they're off limits to me. And that's the naivety is, of course, somebody's going to snag a picture. Of course, somebody's going to do a douchebag thing. How about just ask for a photo? There was no conversation. So yeah, that bothered me a little bit, but it's also expected when you're in the public eye, regardless of the celebrity, whatever you're a celebrity for, there's an intrigue and a privacy that you no longer get. It's just a reality. Regardless of, in a utopian world, we would all treat each other with respect. That's kind of silly, and you really do give that up once you're out in the public. You have to know that. So those things are a bummer, but they're a reality. And what it did for me and my family was opened up conversation in how do we handle these things. Look, going to colleges, people are going to know these. We were walking down the streets and there were banners at frat houses that said Brandi Love drinks free. That's not, it's funny.
Right. But at the same time,
it's funny, but Mama Bear is like, excuse you? It's trying to balance that of course is a challenge. But I also feel very lucky to have an incredible relationship with children and the ability, because we're both so very open, they have no problem talking to us. And I'd rather be the one teaching my child about sexuality and reality versus their friends of equal age, because they don't know an 18th of what I know.
Right. I feel like that question comes up a lot. Depending on what people do well, how are you going to explain that to your kids? How are you ever going to explain? Well, I'm going to talk to them like an adult when they're ready to hear it. And it's really not that difficult of a conversation to have, kind of thing. Exactly. It's really,
well, those are the same people that probably struggle to have normal sexual conversations with their child, right? Like if they're bringing that up to me, I'm like, oh, your poor kids. They're going to have
yeah.
And I'm being serious. It's like, they're putting their issues on me because I'm not having those issues. I have no issue. If my child can speak a question to me, if they can clearly ask me the question, they're getting the truth. I never pushed anything on them, but when they were able to ask, they got the truth.
And this is something, because people go into porn, but you looked at the whole business model. So you're on the back end of it and the front end. You're doing both. A lot of ends go flying all over the place here in the porn world.
Around.
Yeah, there's a lot of ends. But you had to have, and this was, I mean, you've been doing this for a while now. Like, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned, and what are some of the biggest changes you're seeing in the industry now?
Those are all very good questions.
Let me ask you 15 questions at once. And one,
my brain's going, wait, what was the first one?
Yeah. And what's your favorite color?
Yeah. Most importantly.
Yes. Changes in the industry is an interesting part of that question because it is very, I wouldn't say it's roller coastery. It's not cyclical. It doesn't necessarily come back around, but what's popular as far as genre changes every couple of years. And you'll see all the companies start shooting the same content, and then there's something new and we all jump on there. The talent changes. Some people retire, lots of new people come in. And because I've been involved 16 years, I've seen a lot of coming and going. And that changes the playing field because you have all new people to get used to, and companies change. So that's something that my personality actually really likes. I do good with change and being challenged. And if I get too comfortable, I find it's a bad thing for me. I like to be challenged. And even though I'll say I don't, I do. So those things have been really, really good. Technology changes the internet. When live camming started, holy smokes, did that change the playing field. It went from watching scenes wherever you watch them to, I can tip this girl and she'll talk to me and she'll do what I'm asking her to do. And there's this crazy interaction. And now we've got VR, another new technology that's changed the playing field. So those things have been interesting. All right, Kate, what were some of the other parts of that question?
Okay. So what are some of the biggest lessons you personally have learned over these years that you would, if I was getting into the biz, because I am soon to be MILF.
That's true.
Like if that, you'd be like, you know what? Here's some main things.
First, Kate.
What's that?
Let me be your first.
Think of the page views.
MILF on MILF. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Did this just happen? Can we make this official? A Barstool Sports exclusive? Wait, and I'm going to tack one more onto there too. Any advice you would have for someone looking to get into the industry?
Yeah,
absolutely. Twofold. Life lesson that I've learned from all of this is it is a very good earning industry. If you take it seriously and you plot out your career, you can learn delayed gratification. I know many people probably use that word, but it has allowed me to create numerous businesses from my adult industry because I didn't spend what I was making. I literally would take 20% for myself and the rest of every paycheck went away. So if there's one thing I could, man, and you just can't, because 20-year-olds know so much more than 40-something-year-olds. I was way smarter when I was 20 than I am now, of course. Not. But it's really hard when you have good money coming in at a young age to go, ooh, I'll live off the 20% and save this for a rainy day. It's really hard. People go buy expensive handbags. They all have red bottom shoes and awesome luggage. But that gets old, it tears, it rips. Whereas your bank account, if you just keep growing it and invest properly, you can be in 20 years and have set yourself up for a lifetime. So that would be the number one lesson. And it doesn't matter if you're an adult or any career, but that one in particular, because man, to be 18 to 20, getting into the industry, if you just worked 20 years hard and saved, the things that you could do, you know? So that would be number one. And the number two lesson involved in that is never, ever, ever do something against your natural sexuality. I've watched a lot of people do things that they don't like in their personal life for money, for a scene, for a paycheck. I don't know. But I think our sexuality is probably one of the greatest gifts we're given as humans. And to watch people destroy that is really, really brutal. That's something that you should get to enjoy for the rest of your life. So those would be the two life lessons from Brandi Love, if I could give those. And as far as getting in, God, nowadays, I still would highly recommend getting an agent. People email them, they call them, they send photos, and there's about a dozen, probably 6 really exceptional ones, but about a dozen agents that could help a career path instead of just hitting up, companies direct. I don't know if that's the best idea.
I was going to say, what do you think about OnlyFans? The push towards OnlyFans. I know.
Freaking love it.
Yeah.
Again, with the changes in the industry, wow. COVID hits and everybody's panicking, which we should be, but in the sense of business, I can't go shoot. I can't do appearances. I can't do clubs. But all of a sudden, OnlyFans is around. Now, I say all of a sudden because, as usual, I was late to the party. I had so much going on. I didn't really see what was happening. And in March, I started my OnlyFans. I mean, unbelievable timing. And where everything else dropped off, that's really picked up. And it's allowed me an awesome opportunity to communicate with my fans in more intimate ways than I've ever been able to do before. So yeah, I love OnlyFans.
Are you able to repurpose old material? Like we have Lisa Ann on the breakfast show that we do in the morning, and she says she doesn't even have, she's a good friend of Barstool Breakfast. She says she doesn't even have to do new stuff because she owns her masters. So she'll just take all of her old shit, put it on there, and she's making a ton of money each month. And I don't know what her like management situation is. Are you like doing live new content, or are you doing stuff like that?
I do both. I have I try to stay structured because when I'm not, I'm like totally chaotic. But when I'm structured, I'm highly, I get a lot done. So I have my OnlyFans on a schedule of like Flashback Friday, I'll release a throwback video or a throwback photo set. And I have contests, I do giveaways, I'm doing customs on there. But then on other days, 2 days a week, I have brand new content that was just shot that week. So I have a combination of the throwback content because Lisa's brilliant. Of course, that's very smart to utilize it. Plus, there's fans today that didn't know who I was 16 years ago. So that content's actually new for them. And they're getting to see me truly amateur. Like I didn't know shit. And the content, it's that raw, which is kind of fun.
And then, so with that coming out, I was reading about this op-ed by Charlie Peters in the American Conservative, who said, every now and then, the modern world produces a trend so ghastly, you can't help but sit back and think, would a global Islamic caliphate really be that bad?
Oh, boy.
And that's him talking about OnlyFans, to which you came back with a quickness.
Say, tell me you read the other side.
I certainly did. To which you came back with a quickness. You snatched his wig off. You got him pretty good, I think. But
I snatched that toupee.
You did. You snatched the toupee and flung it into the sea. But I have to wonder, because you also wrote in 2008, Getting Wild Sex from Your Conservative Woman. Most of the entertainment industry, whether it's comedy or drama or porn, whatever, it tends to be pretty left-leaning. It tends to be, and you're kind of an outlier, I'd say, in that regard. It's like you're getting hate from both sides. How's that been going?
It's not super fun. I'd be remiss to tell you that it's an awesome place to be, but I've also been there for most of my life. I've never really fit in. I mean, in high school, you've got the jocks, the burners, the athletes, and the prom queen. I was none of them, but hung out with all of them. And I find that it's kind of funny. I haven't changed. I'm learning to control my passion, and I say learning because it might be a lifelong struggle. I can be passionate to the point of I'm not heard because I get really freaking fired up, which yes, it's a good thing, but you can't get your message out if you're deemed threatening or you seem psychotic. And this past 9 months it's come full circle for me. I've gone up the hill. I've attacked, I've defended, I have fought my fight, and now I'm starting to go, how's that working for you, Brandy? It's not, because the aggression that's happening in our country, even within my own industry, between the great divide, that I don't believe we're ever going to heal from. I hate to say it, but I don't. It's so bad. It really is that bad. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to live my life. I'm trying to focus on my fans because they are what, other than the obvious, my family, they keep me going. I love my fans. The comments, they're the accolades that I get in this industry are them. There are a ton of people in the industry I still love dearly and I respect dearly. And there's a ton I don't, and I didn't know I didn't until they tried to cancel culture me because I don't believe as they do. I had to learn the hard way that we no longer live in a country that differences are celebrated. Now it's you believe as I do, or I try to destroy you.
Right.
And, trying to figure out, well, I ain't changing. I know exactly who I am and what I believe, and I know why. So how do I press on in an industry that, like you said, Kate, seems to be a majority of left. Now it does seem that way, but one of the benefits of what I went through was all those people that I didn't know were like me. They all bubbled up to the surface. And now I have a circle of friends that I actually talk to on my phone that I never had their phone numbers. We never had conversations. We never went out to lunch. It was more of a, you wave, we know who each other are, we know each other's names. And now I have more actual real friendships in the industry than I ever had after 16 years. So with the bad came some good.
Yeah.
But you're taking all this shit, right? And you've been in the industry for like 20 years, you say. Why even, like, you've made your money. Obviously, you're still making money on your OnlyFans and everything. Why even push on if you're taking this? Hey, when are you, is retirement at all like in the near future for you? Or are you going to do this until the wheels fall off kind of thing?
Well, I do hope to make a graceful exit. I really do. I love the industry. I love what I do. I've never wavered on that. There's been a little bit of a hiccup in that I never thought before I went to set, should I look this person up? Do they have opposing beliefs? Are they talking shit about me?
That's so crazy that you even have to think to do that though.
That's so I've been trying to figure out, okay, am I okay with this? Like, do I want to show up on set and have somebody like start something that I don't want to be involved in? Because anybody can be a keyboard warrior. We all see that. But to my face, are we going to go down? Are we cool? I can be cool. Even if I know that you're totally opposite of me, I can actually be cool. But, you know, that has changed the, cause I am a very sexual person. I go on to set, and even if I don't know you, I can zone in and find something that I find really insatiable about you, something really hot, and I'm looking forward to it. But if I talk to you before that set and you say something offensive, I don't want to fuck you. I don't. And quite frankly, I suspect they feel the same. So it hasn't happened yet. I've been out west twice, and everybody I've worked with has been outrageously fun. It's been great. But I don't like that I go to set thinking that, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what the future brings. I have no intention of retiring, and certainly not because a group of jackasses try to push me out. That ain't going to happen, because it's not them who can do it. It's the fans. If the fans stop watching, or they say, Brandy, you should probably take off the stripper shoes and retire, then that's what I would listen to. Or if the day comes that I just go, I've shot what I've wanted to shoot. I came, I saw, I shot what I wanted. But here's the thing, I haven't yet. There are still scenes that in my fantasy mind back here, I'm like, that's gotta be shot.
Which scenes?
Ooh.
Give us a hint.
What's
the ultimate Brandi Love fantasy scene?
Can I say mine?
Yes.
Because I feel like we're almost there. We're so close. So space travel is becoming more closer for the common man and woman, who somebody soon is gonna do the first space porn, and I for one will be paying to watch it.
An astronaut fuck?
I'm just saying a zero gravity sex encounter.
That sounds really intense. That could be awesome. I have shot so many that I truly enjoy, but there are a few favorites that favorite types of scenes. I don't know that I have it detailed out, because for me, super hot is when nature takes over. When the scene is supposed to go this way, but it just goes this way because that's where chemistry took us. One of my favorite producers is Mark Dorcel. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's like Andrew Blake, Mark Dorcel. They're incredibly naughty, like almost seedy-ish, yet the people are dressed. They're
naughty boys.
Oh my God. There's a scene in my head, like they roll up into the warehouse, the cars, it's just kind of like a 1970s whatever, and he's dressed in a suit, she's dressed in a fur coat, and there's a guy. The guy shows up, she gets out of the car, they fuck on top of the hood, the husband or boyfriend is watching, and it's so, for me, that contrast of dirty, seedy and glam luxury is the epitome of hot for me. So I would love to produce something be in something of that. I don't care how many people, just that concept.
If you need seedy dirtbag ideas, I'm from the Philly suburbs. I'm chock full of them. So hit me up if you'd like to I'm around. But I have a couple questions, if you don't mind me asking here. So this is your 7th overall nod in the category for the AVN Awards for MILF of the Year. And I have to ask, like, because you do so much other stuff, but that's kind of the thing you're known for. Is that something you've grown to embrace, or do you feel pigeonholed sometimes?
I've loved it since the first time I was called it. I think of American Pie, and I just hats off to them. Thank you so much for coining that term. I embrace it. I love it. I've never shied away from it, and it's the one category that I totally honored to be a part of that category, because some of my favorite women in the industry are also in that category. So that nomination's awesome, and yeah, it's the best place to be. I'm not gonna lie. It's the best category to be a part of.
I'm getting pumped. I'm getting pumped for the future.
Kate is ready. That first scene, the first MILF scene between Kate Barstool and Brandi Love may actually be happening.
I bring the dirt bag, you bring the class. You have to bring the nice car. I do have a fake fur coat. We'll figure it out.
Awesome. We've got this. We've got this.
I roll up in my 2000 Honda CRV. I'm like, all right, Brandy, let's go.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
We don't need hubcaps to do this. But so another question I have, a couple MILF questions here. So I feel like looking at you, and I'm like, that's a MILF, and all of us moms to be or moms out there are like, man, I'm not that. Boobs are a little saggy. I've never felt more like, I just don't feel hot right now. I don't feel sexy, and I don't feel like I've got anything perfect going on right now. Were there days in the industry where you felt like that too? And how do you pump yourself up to, like, I don't know. I feel self-conscious a little bit about my bod.
Well, I look, I totally understand. Been there, done that. I kind of, when it came to that, I suspect that your partner finds the exact opposite to be true. Your new curves and the skin, I can see it through the camera. There's a glow that you're not accepting about yourself that others are. Because, man, if you would put on like a bodycon type fitting dress, you would blow your mate away, because it's beautiful. Your body is beautiful. And I understand what you're saying. And you'll work to get that back afterwards. But let me tell you something about the beauty of being a MILF and why I think it's so awesome. It doesn't matter what, your hairstyle, your makeup style, your clothes you wear, those things do help in the package. But let me tell you, the most important thing in the world, and what is the sexiest, is your mindset. It's the attitude of a MILF. It's the comfort of the wisdom that you have behind you, understanding your sexuality, what you like, what you don't like, and the insatiable aspect of it. And I don't know how you're feeling right now, but I know that I know a lot more about my sexuality and what I like, and I want it more often than I did when I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the key and the ticket to truly being a MILF, is more in your attitude and your insatiability than it is what you're picking on yourself for.
Yeah. All right. I'm feeling sexy already.
That is something.
I'll see you in 20 minutes. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Also, so you and your husband have been together for many years now too, and you're having sex as part of your job. You're having, like, how do you keep things spicy with him? Like, how does that work? If you don't mind me asking.
No, of course. It's a great question, because people sometimes, even some people I know in the industry, they almost get a lackadaisical attitude about sex. Like, oh, we're having sex again, Yeah. And that's that same thing I was talking about, is don't mess with your sexuality. If you're not loving it, man, get out, because it's too important to mess with. But we have sex on cam. We shoot content for OnlyFans. And then there are times that it'd be a great scene, but no, turn the cameras off. This is about you and I. Mm-hmm. And that in and of itself are 3 different types of sex, right? Live on cam, shooting it for OnlyFans or whatever. And then there's the intimate aspect that nobody's a part of. And then there's the part where we have friends come over. And for us, that adds a lot of spice. I mean, sometimes we're having sex in public, sometimes in the back of a car. There's always a lot going on with us. So I can't think of necessarily a time where there was a dry patch, unless we just got too goddamn busy. Right. That's where we get into trouble, is life gets in the way. I'm traveling, he's traveling, we're renovating a house, kids off to school. There could be so much going on that we go, oh, it's been a week. And that might not sound like anything. Say it's been a month. It can happen in any relationship. And because of what we do, we can go, you know what? Let's take a breath. Let's get back to good. This is about you and I. Always, it's about you and I. So, yeah, keeping it spicy, man. Keep it fun. For me, it's just make sure it's fun and not just work or, oh, it's been 4 days, time to fuck. I mean, that's not hot. Couples do that, and I don't judge. I just don't. It's kind of missing the whole goodiness of sex. You want the excitement to go from your head to your toes. So for us, it's making sure we don't make it all about work.
Right. And then my final question, just because you're a wine lady, new parents, money's tight. Give us a good favorite $20 bottle right now.
Give me your address later and I'll send you some.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I would be happy to. Do you prefer red, white, or rosé?
Red lady.
Like reds. Okay. Louis M. Martini. Louis M. Martini has a Napa. They have a Sonoma. And that one's rated about 27 to 28. So I might be pushing that. And Lady in Red is a phenomenal Washington Cabernet.
Noted. I just typed those down.
Seriously, if you send me info, I'll send you a whole list because, man, I could probably send you a dozen to get you started to figure out what you like, but they're phenomenal.
Awesome. Very good to know.
We got to get Brandy on we do on our radio show on Friday mornings. It's called Gentleman's Friday, and we have a couple glasses of wine. So we got to get you on Barstool Breakfast to taste some wine with us next time you're in New York.
Oh, absolutely. My God. I would love that. Are you kidding? Am I allowed to bring some too for you guys to taste?
Oh, they would love it. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. Awesome. And then what else do you have? Because I saw I'm such a creeper. I'm like, you're renovating a house in Florida. You've got all sorts of different other stuff going on. What other projects do you have going on and what's coming up next for you?
Well, in the industry, always shooting new stuff. I have a whole month in January lined up with, as we were talking about, other people who will be joining me for my OnlyFans content, which will be phenomenal. I have a house being renovated in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, the one here in Florida. So there's a lot of back and forth to check on the progress. And it's crazy. I have another house that's being finished here in Florida that we're going to move into until the other renovation.
So ladies in your 20s, listen to her and save for the love of God, because that sounds pretty sweet.
Well, finding your other passion, because look, I'll always love sex, but nobody wants to watch me when I'm in my 80s. I would hope they don't want to, but you never know. And we discovered we have a huge passion for real estate. I absolutely love renovating, which I understand why people don't. It's a lot of headaches. There's a lot of ups and downs, and there's issues that you learn. But that end result, I'm like addicted to that. Oh my God, it was that. And now, oh my God, it's this. And then even more fun is when you sell it and you see the gain for your hard work. And I can't stop. I'm obsessed.
Real estate, the one job realm where no one's gonna screw Brandi Love. God damn it, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. I love it. Well, I think we know you're busy, so we're gonna let you get out of here. But we do have 5 rapid fire questions we want to ask you really quick before you go.
All right, we'll try.
These are fine. We'll try our best. All right. First question: favorite performer you've ever worked with?
Oh my God, there's so many. Manuel.
Noted. This is kind of mean. Least favorite performer you've ever worked with?
I wouldn't know his name because
not worth remembering.
Bingo.
Biggest dick you've ever seen?
Probably Dreads.
Yeah. The most embarrassing / funniest moment you ever had on set? One that sticks out where the whole crew stopped, everybody had a good chuckle.
Oh, rapid fire sucks.
I know. Sorry.
That's, I must be super boring. Something funny. I'm not funny.
No, that's okay.
That's okay. That's an honest answer.
We don't go to porn. We don't go there to laugh, so that's fine.
That's an honest answer.
I did. I have so many I could tell you, but it would be fair to steal them from the people who actually experienced it.
Nice.
And then the last one, who's one celebrity not in the porn world who you'd want to work with?
Oh, there's so many. Tom Brady.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Same. I'm a New England guy. Yeah. So we share that in common. Well, nice. Brandy, thank you so much for coming on. We've been looking forward to this for a couple weeks now. Yeah. We got to have you back, and we got to have, once this pandemic goes away, we got to have you in the office. We can do the car wash, get you on all the shows, but you've been absolutely wonderful.
We'll
have a bunch of wine and confront whoever wrote that blog. We'll go find them. We'll have a few bottles and then hunt them down. So I'm on board.
Man. Good deal, guys. Thank you so much. It was such a treat, and I look forward to seeing you guys again.
Yeah,
of course.
thank you.
So just remember, onlybrandy.com is her OnlyFans. Twitter is Brandy_love, and Instagram is Brandy_love. And I'm sure you can see her on your favorite adult website as well. So Brandy Love, thank you so much for popping on Out and About.
My pleasure. Merry Christmas, you guys.